The man who'd vanished the day she said, "I'm pregnant," was now sitting 2 tables away, staring at the sons he never knew he had. Harper had only $20 to her name, but she held her head higher than any billionaire in the room. She only had $20 to make her twins feel celebrated. At a table 2 seats over, a man in a tailored suit dropped his coffee when he saw the curve of their smiles, because those were his dimples, too. Harper didn't flinch. She had protected them for 5 years. She would not let Nicholas Carter ruin their birthday, even if he finally recognized the sons he walked away from. He hadn't spoken yet, just stared. But this time, she was the one who stayed quiet. Welcome back, my beautiful family and friends. I've missed you all so much. It's been a tough ride with some technical issues, but by God's grace, we're getting everything back on track. Thank you for sticking with me. Your support means everything. Before we begin, I want to say a little prayer over everyone watching, especially the women. To the women, may God strengthen you, comfort you, and fill your heart with peace and favor. To the men, may God guide you, bless your efforts, and give you wisdom in all you do. And may God's protection rest on every single one of you. Amen. If you're ready for today's story, hit subscribe and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. My USA and UK family, I see you. And please watch till the end, because tomorrow I'll be dropping another story you wouldn't want to miss. My mum said, "I won't get to 1,000 subscribers, please." Let's prove her wrong. Subscribe now. Now, let's get into the story. It hadn't always been like this. Before the silence, before the lies, there was once something real between them. Something she thought would last until the day it didn't. Back in her small North Las Vegas apartment, Harper James had made a decision. Even if all she had was $20, she'd give her sons a birthday worth remembering. They asked for cupcakes and balloons, and she was going to make it happen. Trader Joe's on South Decatur had become their little tradition. Every birthday since the twins turned 2, they'd sit at the same window-side booth, the one with the view of the cactus garden outside and the chalkboard wall filled with colorful drawings. Harper would order their fancy cupcakes, let them split a hot chocolate, and then, if the budget allowed, pick out one fun snack from the aisle with the banana-shaped carts. It wasn't much, but to them, it was everything. She was tucking Remy's collar down, the shirt a bit too tight, the bow tie lopsided from too much excitement, when the front doors chimed. Double espresso, no sugar, black. Her hands froze. No, it couldn't be. That voice, deep, steady, precise, had lived rent-free in the back of her memory for the past 5 years. She knew it like she knew her son's laughter, like she knew the beat of her own heart. She didn't dare turn around. Not yet. She slid back into the booth, placing the napkins just so, pretending to be busy. Rowan was already trying to peel the sticker off his water bottle. Remy, cheeks puffed, was humming some birthday song he'd made up on the walkover. Harper kept her head low. Her breath came uneven, her chest tight. Her hands shaking. It's not him. You're just tired. Except her gut knew better. Because when you've loved someone that deeply, when they've changed your life, ripped your world open, and left you to rebuild it alone, you never forget their voice. And she hadn't. She hadn't spoken his name out loud in years, but it echoed in her mind now with painful clarity. Her first love, her first heartbreak. The man who held her like she was the only thing that mattered until the day he vanished like she never did. He was 30 when they met. She was barely 17, working part-time sweeping up hair at a mid-range salon in Summerlin. He'd come in for a last-minute haircut, said he had an investor dinner that night, wore a Rolex then too. Back then, she thought it just meant he was successful. She didn't know what CEO really meant. She just knew he smelled like leather seats and cedarwood, and that when he smiled, she forgot every problem waiting for her at home. For a while, it was good, so good it scared her. He bought her books, told her she was too smart for her neighborhood, said her braiding hands deserved a salon with her name on the door. For a minute she believed him. Then she got pregnant. And just like that, everything stopped. His number went cold. His texts disappeared. No calls, no answers, as she didn't even get a goodbye. Only silence. "Do you think they'll have the blue cupcakes, Mama?" Remy asked now, bouncing slightly on the seat. She forced a smile. "I hope so, baby. Remember, today's your special day." "Is that man famous?" Rowan asked suddenly, eyes darting past her. "He looks like the people on billboards." Her heart plummeted. She couldn't stop herself. She turned, and there he was, Nicholas Carter, standing at the cafe counter in a charcoal gray suit, polished shoes, wristwatch gleaming, his jawline a little sharper now, hair with more silver at the temples than she remembered. He hadn't seen her yet. He was typing something into his phone, brow furrowed, probably closing $1 million deal without blinking. Harper ducked her head again. Breathe. He didn't know. He didn't know about the twins. He didn't know they were sitting 20 feet away, wearing bow ties she'd stitched by hand and shoes she scrubbed every night to make them look new. He didn't know they had his eyes. Didn't know Remy laughed just like him, head thrown back, carefree. Didn't know Rowan's serious stare was a mirror of his own when he got focused. And maybe that was for the best, wasn't it? "Here's your cupcakes, sweethearts," Harper said quickly, sliding the plates in front of them. Remy clapped. "Green sprinkles." Rowan grinned. "I got blue," she laughed, a little too loud, too forced, anything to mask the thunder in her chest. Then she felt it. Eyes. She didn't know how, but she knew. She looked up, and Nicholas Carter was staring straight at her. His face changed in real time. Confusion, shock, recognition. Then something darker. His lips parted slightly, but no words came. He looked down at the boys. His gaze paused. Held. Harper felt the ground shift. He knows. Maybe not fully. Not yet. But some part of him, primal, unshakable, knew. And Harper? She wasn't ready. Not for this. Not today. If you've ever been left to fight alone and still showed up with love, this chapter is yours. For every woman who made something from nothing, who stretched $20 into magic, you are not invisible. Subscribe if this part of the story was written for you. Nicholas Carter wasn't used to being rattled. Not in boardrooms, not in courtrooms, not on the cover of Forbes. But the moment he saw those two little boys at the window booth, his world stopped moving. One of them, the quieter one, had just adjusted his glasses and leaned in close to a cupcake, inspecting the frosting like it was sacred. The other one bounced in his seat, a blur of excitement and energy. Two perfectly dressed kids. Same age, same dimples, same... his eyes. God, they had his eyes. He couldn't stop staring, couldn't look away. His grip tightened on the paper coffee cup until it crinkled in his palm. Something burned in the back of his throat. Not the espresso. A memory cut through the noise. Late at night, his phone buzzing. Again, Harper's name. Message unread. Voicemail ignored. "I need to talk to you. Please don't shut me out." He hadn't listened to the rest, because by then, everything around him had been a mess. The pressure, The expectations, the Carter family legacy breathing down his neck. His mother's voice, like a knife in his ear. She's just another girl trying to trap you. Handle it quietly, Nicholas. So he had, or so he thought. But now watching this little boy poke at his cupcake with the same left-handed curiosity Nicholas used to have, something cold settled in his chest. Was he wrong? Was she telling the truth all along? He blinked hard, trying to shake the fog, but when the second boy turned, grinning, frosting on his cheek, Nicholas felt the air leave his lungs. It was like watching a memory. Then the woman across from them looked up. Harper. And it all hit him at once, her face, her expression, the frozen tension in her shoulders. The years that had passed, written in her eyes. For a moment, no one moved. Then Rowan looked up and smiled. The exact smile Nicholas hadn't seen in 5 years, because he never knew it existed. Nicholas stood too fast. The cup slipped from his hand. The lid popped. Coffee splashed across the polished tile. And for the first time in a long time, Nicholas Carter had no words. She'd never forget the cold of that house. Not the temperature, the energy. The kind of silence money buys. The kind that tells you you don't belong. Harper sat on the edge of a velvet chair in Victoria Carter's Las Vegas estate, clutching the pregnancy test in her hoodie pocket like it might save her. 2 pink lines, life-altering, hopeful, terrifying. "I need to see Nicholas," she said quietly, voice trembling. Victoria didn't blink. "He's unavailable." Harper stood. "Then I'll wait." The older woman exhaled slowly, like Harper was already exhausting her. "He's not coming. And frankly, this situation doesn't require his attention." Victoria slid an envelope across the table with manicured precision. $250,000. In cash, tax-free. Harper stared at it, then at her. "This isn't a situation," Harper said, voice sharper now. "It's a child. His child." Victoria's smile was thin. "And this check, make sure it stays yours." Quietly. Harper pushed the envelope back. "I'm not for sale." But that was the last door that stayed open. The next day, Nicholas's number stopped ringing. Her texts went green. Every call sent to voicemail. The salon where he used to surprise her with lunch said he was out of town indefinitely. She showed up at his office. Security turned her away. She left messages, letters, nothing. Until one day she stopped trying. She had twins to raise, rent to pay, a world to rebuild from nothing. Now, 5 years later, Harper sat across from her boys in a grocery store cafe, watching Nicholas Carter walk toward her table like a ghost wearing a $1,000 suit. Her heart thundered in her chest. The smell of spilled espresso lingered in the air. He was closer now. 10 feet. 5. His eyes flicked from the twins to her, to the bow ties, the frosting, the features he could no longer deny. And Harper? She didn't blink. She had nothing left to explain, but everything left to protect. The candles flickered. Rowan and Remy leaned forward in unison, eyes squeezed shut, chins nearly touching the icing. "Make a wish," Harper whispered. The moment held still. For a second, the whole world seemed to hush, like even the air paused to listen. Then Rowan spoke. "We wish we could meet our dad, just once, so he knows we're real." The words sliced the air like a blade. From the next table, the sound came sharp, a gasp, the scrape of chair legs, and then a soft thud. Nicholas had dropped his coffee again. This time, he didn't even flinch as it hit the floor. He was staring at them, at his sons. His mouth opened slightly, like he meant to say something, but no words came. only a kind of haunted silence that said more than any apology ever could. Guilt wasn't new to Nicholas. He wore it like a suit most days. Deals, betrayals, contracts signed in boardrooms that left someone on the losing end. But this was different. This was blood. And the truth hit him like a freight train. Those boys had made a wish for a father they thought didn't exist, while he sat just a few feet away, too stunned to move. Harper stood slowly, her chair pushing back with a quiet screech. The boys clapped, their wish complete, unaware of the storm breaking around them. She stepped between them and Nicholas. Her voice didn't shake. It was low, controlled, cold. "They're your sons, Nicholas. You don't get to sit there and pretend you're a stranger." He flinched, not from volume, but from truth. Rowan looked up, puzzled. "Mama, what did you say?" Harper didn't answer. Not yet. Nicholas stared at the cupcakes, the flickering candles now curling into smoke. 5 birthdays missed. First steps. First words. First everything. And all because he believed a lie. Now the truth stood in front of him. 2 little boys and the woman he let slip through the cracks. Some children grow up thinking they were never wanted. If this moment held you, don't just scroll. Subscribe, because truth deserves to be heard. "I didn't know, Harper." Nicholas's voice cracked like something old and rusted breaking loose. "I swear to you, I didn't know." Harper stared at him, unmoving. Her arms crossed over her chest like armor. The twins were quiet now, eyes darting between the 2 adults like they were watching something they weren't supposed to see. "You didn't know?" she repeated, her voice colder than the air between them. "You knew enough to disappear the moment I told you I was pregnant." "No," he said, stepping closer. "I never got that message. I never heard from you again after—" "Because I wasn't allowed to," Harper snapped. "Your mother made sure of it." He blinked, stunned. "What?" "She offered me money, to disappear, to handle my situation quietly." Harper swallowed hard. "And when I said no, everything went silent. You vanished. I thought you knew. I thought you didn't care." Remy tugged at her sleeve. "Mama, why does that man look like us?" Harper didn't answer. Nicholas looked down at the boys, his voice barely more than a whisper. "Because—" He dropped to his knees, eye level with them now, hands shaking. "Because I'm your dad." The room spun a little. The lights above them seemed too bright. The buzz of the espresso machine in the background felt deafening. Rowan leaned into Harper, confused but quiet. Remy stared openly at the man on the ground, studying the shape of his nose, the slope of his eyebrows, the curve of his mouth, as if comparing it to his own reflection. Harper could hardly breathe. Suddenly, she was back in the apartment, rocking both boys through fevered nights, wiping tears with the sleeve of her shirt because there weren't enough tissues. Back in the grocery store line, counting quarters and hoping there wouldn't be shame in her total. Back in the silence, trying to be enough for them when the world told her she wasn't. "They didn't need your money," she said, her voice low and steady. She looked him dead in the eye. "They needed you." He remembered the exact words. "She took the money and ran, Nicholas. You dodged a bullet." His mother had said it so smoothly, like she'd done him a favor. "You think she loved you? That girl saw a ticket out. Be grateful we handled it before it became a scandal." He hadn't questioned it. Back then, he was too consumed with becoming who the Carter family needed him to be, too focused on boardrooms and buyouts, too eager to believe that Harper, young, sweet Harper, had turned cold for a check. He never called, never pushed back. He just let her go. But now, looking into Harper's eyes, he knew. He had let the one real thing in his life disappear without a fight. Remy sat in Harper's lap now, his head resting against her chest, one thumb in his mouth. Rowan quietly picked at the cupcake wrapper, staring down like he was trying to disappear. Nicholas had missed it all. Their first words, their first steps, their birthdays, their scraped knees, their bad dreams, their favorite songs. He missed it because he believed a lie. "I want to fix this," Nicholas said, voice barely above a whisper. "Let me start now. Let me be part of their lives. Whatever it takes." Harper looked at him, tired, steady, unmoved. "This isn't your timeline anymore," she said, her voice laced with quiet fire. "You don't get to fix it on your terms." He felt those words land hard in his chest. She wasn't lashing out. She wasn't yelling. That would have been easier. She was just telling the truth. "You made peace with me being gone," she added. "I made peace with raising them alone. You don't get to walk in and rewrite that." Nicholas nodded slowly, the weight of 5 silent years crashing down like bricks on his back. He hadn't just lost time. He'd lost trust. And now, if he wanted any kind of redemption, he'd have to earn it, every single day. Harper didn't speak for a long time. Nicholas stood there, waiting, not demanding, not assuming, just waiting. For the first time in his life, patience looked right on him. The boys had gone back to their cupcakes, quietly humming to themselves, still unaware that the man standing just a few feet away wasn't just a stranger with tears in his eyes. He was their father. Harper exhaled, the breath tight in her chest. She looked at Nicholas. And for the first time since he'd walked in, something inside her softened. Not forgiveness, not yet, but something. "You want to be here?" she said. "Start now." He straightened. "I'd like to give them something more today," he said gently. "Just a little celebration. Balloons, a cake, something they'll remember." Harper hesitated. Her instinct was to say no, to guard, to protect. She had done this alone for 5 years, birthdays, holidays, every scraped knee and sleepless night. She didn't need his help, but her boys did deserve a little more joy today. "For them," she said. "Not for you." Nicholas nodded. He turned and walked quickly out the front doors, phone already pressed to his ear. Harper watched him go, the past and present colliding in her chest. She looked at her boys, heads tilted together, laughing at nothing, joy lighting up their small faces. A few minutes later, the Trader Joe's staff returned, smiling. One rolled out a small cake with whipped cream frosting and colorful sprinkles. Another tied 2 helium balloons to their table, one with dinosaurs, one with stars. Harper blinked. "What is this?" "Your friend called ahead," the cashier grinned. "Said it was urgent. Said it was for 2 very important birthday boys." Remy gasped. Rowan's eyes went wide. "For us?" they asked in unison. Harper nodded slowly. "Yeah, baby. For you." The boys beamed. They had no idea the storm that had just passed or the one still quietly brewing. But for now, they had cake. They had balloons. They had a moment of joy. And Harper? She had one foot still guarding the past, and the other, cautiously, stepping into something new. Nicholas knelt again as the boys wrapped their small arms around his neck, giggling through frosting, sticky smiles. He hugged them back, gently, almost like he was afraid he'd break something he didn't know how to hold. Rowan leaned into his shoulder. Remy tugged at his tie. Harper watched from across the table, Her heart ached in ways she couldn't explain. Joy for them, pain for her. This was their first hug, first laugh shared with him, and she was glad for them, truly. But that didn't erase what had already been lost. 5 birthdays, 5 winters, 5 years of doing it alone. Nicholas looked up at her, eyes shining with something raw. "This isn't the end," he said. "I want to know them, support them, support you, if you'll let me. No more lies, just truth. From here on out." Harper nodded slowly, lips pressed into a line. Not angry, just honest. "You don't get to skip the consequences," she said. "You don't get to walk in and play Father of the Year because your guilt, Feeney,